Welcome to this Writing Services presentation on 3 quick tips for structuring and organizing your articles and book chapters. My name is Jodie Salter and I'm with Writing Services in the McLaughlin Library at the University of Guelph. This presentation will briefly introduce you to 3 useful strategies for helping you structure and organize your writing projects. First, I will show you how to use article or book mapping for outlining and reviewing large documents. Please note there's a more detailed video on thesis mapping templates for graduate students writing theses or dissertations. Second, I will briefly explain the banquet hall analogy for organizing the sections of your literature review. And third, I will highlight how to use the reverse outline for gaining critical distance from a complete written draft. Article mapping, or book mapping, is a visual tool that allows writers to stand back and see their entire project as a whole, and how the individual sections fit in conversation with each other. This tool is useful from the beginning writing stages through to final revisions. When we are writing a large document, we can become so immersed in the writing of the individual sections. This strategy provides us with an outline that shows how the project, the research, and the argument logically develops and contributes throughout each section of the article or book. Like any template, this example can be modified to best reflect the sections and structures of a writing project in your own specific discipline. This mapping tool helps create a section-by-section breakdown of a larger document. It helps us to determine where concepts and ideas go into the text. It helps us explain how individual parts fit together. It creates a visual of different sections in conversation with one another. It helps us as writers move from start to finish without getting lost. It also helps us as writers understand the big picture of our project. In this video, I will highlight the topic-based research article or book mapping template. Each template includes the master outline, like we see in this image here, plus an 8 to 11 page workbook with each page corresponding with one column. Each column represents a chapter, with the introduction on the far left, followed by the literature review, then multiple chapters comprising the middle section, and the conclusion on the far right column. The number of body chapters in the middle depends upon the length of the project. Under each column, the boxes include key information, and these sections are useful for helping writers focus on writing one section at a time. This focus on writing smaller sections can help decrease anxiety about writing a large document. The first column on this master template corresponds with the second page of the workbook. This page provides a space to begin to fill in sections of the introductory chapter. Here we can capture ideas for each section and begin to clarify what needs to be said in each of the essential components. Not all writing projects will include every section presented here. For example, a research article in humanities might not list objectives, but it would include a justification for the project. To modify this template to best suit your needs, look at examples of published literature in your discipline to gain a clear understanding of the specific structure and essential components that you will need to include in your article. The final column, the conclusion, corresponds with page 7 in the workbook. Here, we have space to begin to make notes for ourselves of what we need to capture in the conclusion of our article or book. Thus, each column in the master template has a corresponding sheet in the workbook, where we can begin to gather our ideas and begin writing in sections. As a reminder, these maps are templates only. They are to serve as guides for your writing process and should be modified to best reflect the sections and structure of an article in your specific discipline and to meet the expectations of specific publishers. Next time you read an article published in your discipline, take note of where and how key information is organized and structured. Article mapping templates are a multi-page document best printed on 11 by 17 sheets of paper to give you a lot of space to work with. You can also complete this activity on a digital copy, but I encourage you to step away from the computer and allow yourself the time to think with pen and paper. As seen in this picture, the printed pages can be laid out side by side, capturing an entire writing project on one wall. Each sheet of paper represents one chapter or section. Another useful strategy for outlining a writing project, in this case a literature review, is the banquet hall analogy. A literature review compares and evaluates literature, grouping similar studies together in an integrated discussion. Imagine walking your guest, your reader, through a room, stopping at each table and explaining each conversation to them. As the host of the banquet, your task is to arrange the seating so that the authors, theorists, scientists, or studies engage in conversations about their agreements and disagreements in findings, methods, theories, interpretations, etc. Factors to consider when grouping topics or conversations in your literature review: 1, the selection process; 2, the conversations; and 3, the order of introductions. For each table, prioritize and introduce first to your reader the key authors or studies in order to establish their significance to the field and their specific influence on your own research. Use the image provided to begin organizing and grouping your sources into categories. This image is designed to help you visually organize the literature you are reading into conversations around specific topics or themes. Depending on the length of your paper and complexity of your research, you may require more than 3 tables. Think about the connections between the banquet tables and how you would order the tables to logically develop your research topic. On my YouTube channel, you can find my video, Writing the Literature Review, a Banquet Hall Analogy, which explains this writing strategy in greater detail. And yes, it features cats. On the University of Guelph Library's LibGuides on Write a Literature Review, you can find the accompanying handout on how to group topics or conversations in your literature review, plus a lot of other useful information, such as a handout on responding to feedback. The final strategy that I want to talk about is the reverse outline. This is a post-writing strategy. Reverse outlines help you evaluate the flow and development of ideas in your writing, determine if your sections and paragraphs are in a logical order, and create effective topic sentences that serve as signposts to guide your reader. I provide a much more detailed description of this outlining strategy in my video, Organizational Strategies for Your Ideas and Writing. Take your entire document, number every paragraph. Then for each paragraph, identify the primary topic of the paragraph, assess if there's a recognizable topic sentence, evaluate the length of the paragraph and whether the topic is sufficiently developed. Lastly, evaluate the order of the topic sentences to determine if you need to move paragraphs around to create better flow of ideas. If you're a University of Guelph student or faculty and you need support on any of the topics discussed in this presentation, you can book an appointment on the library webpage. You will find details about the various library support services listed here. Thank you for watching. I'm Jodie Salter, and I hope you gained something useful from this presentation. If you have questions, you can email writing services at writing@uoguelph.ca or visit the library website at lib.uoguelph.ca.